Hi bowl bakers! All you need to make a s'more are graham crackers, chocolate and marshmallows. We're going to take all of those ingredients and combine them into one big and bold no-bake s'more pie. So let's get started. S'mores are a quintessential summer treat because you've got campfires and picnics going. This pie is fantastic because it is no bake, so you do not need to turn on your oven. We're going to get started with my favorite part, which is making the crust for our pie. Sometimes what I like to do to make an easy crust is actually take your cookies. I'm using graham crackers because that's what you use to make s'mores. And then we're going to put them into a Ziploc bag. And then you take a rolling pin and then you bash them until they're nice, fine, small crumbs. I learned this trick from my mum because when I was a kid, when she would make cheesecakes on a Sunday, we used to have to get onto the ground with a rolling pin and a bag full of cookies and bash them. It's just an easy way to do it and you don't need a machine. Okay, it just takes a few minutes and now we have our crumbs ready for our crust. So I am going to put these in a bowl and then we're going to mix them together with some melted butter. Now what this does is binds the whole crust together. Just mix it all together until there's no more dry crumbs and it starts to clump up. This is looking good. Okay, I'm going to set this crust aside and we're going to prepare our pie dish. Now the pie dish that I have is nice and deep and that's the way I like it because more crust and more filling. This is a 9-inch pie dish. However, if you want to use a springform tin or even a smaller tin, that's totally fine too. I also buttered and lined my tin with cling wrap, and the reason that I did that is so I can take it out of the tin afterwards and display it without a tin. However, you don't have to do this step. Pour all of your crust into your pie dish. If you have a deep dish like mine, push your crumbs all the way around the sides to get a nice thick coating around there. And then also pat it out in the middle. Once your pie crust is shaped, we're going to pop it in the fridge and let it set, and we're going to get started on our next step, which is our chocolate pudding filling. The chocolate pudding filling that we're putting into the pie is very similar to the chocolate pudding that we all know and love. It's rich and thick and it is just going to go so fantastically in this pie. You want to start out on the stove in a heavy bottom saucepan. We're going to add in some milk. Now I like to use full fat to get all of that creaminess in there because we're not adding any cream, so you may as well go all out with the milk. Next we're going to add in some chopped chocolate. Now to make this an outrageous decadent pie, you really want to make sure you use good quality chocolate. I'm using 72% cocoa solid chocolate here because you get richness, it's not too sweet, and you get a little bit of bitterness that just works so well in this. So throw that in there with the milk. Now over a medium-low heat, we're just going to let these two ingredients sit here together, melt, and then we're going to go in with our next ingredient. Chocolate pudding has to be one of my favorite desserts, and if you haven't seen it already, I actually made a chocolate pudding in the microwave. It takes no time at all and it is absolutely delicious, so make sure you check that out. So in no time at all, you'll notice that your chocolate is starting to melt. Once you see that all your chocolate has melted, I'm going to turn the heat up a little bit until you almost see it start to simmer. And then we're going to take our cornstarch that is mixed with a little bit of water to form a kind of a liquidy paste. And then we're going to slowly add it into our pudding and continuously whisk to make sure that there's no lumps. You want your pudding to be simmering when you do this because it needs that heat to actually activate and get the cornstarch to thicken. Cornstarch is a really great thickening agent and it is gluten-free. So you can see already that our pudding has thickened. So we are just going to let it keep on heating just for like another minute or so to cook out that cornstarch, let it do its job. But just look at that. Oh, I could just dig a spoon in there. Okay, I'm going to pop this off because it has thickened a lot. I've cooked out the cornstarch. But just lastly, I'm going to add a good pinch of salt because chocolate and salt go so well together. It brings out all the flavors. And some vanilla extract. And then just whisk them in. As you can see, it's smooth, there's no lumps. This is one fantastic pudding. So I'm going to set this guy aside, just let it cool down a little bit before we add it into our pie crust. Okay, so I took my pie crust out of the fridge. My chocolate pudding has cooled down a good amount, so now I'm going to pour it into my pie crust and fill it up all the way to the top. The more chocolate pudding, the better. Where'd I get that drip? Oh, yummy. And here is our pie ready for the fridge. We're going to put it in until it sets, and then we are going to put our piece de resistance on top. Now you cannot have a s'more pie without gooey marshmallows on top, but I'm adding my own big and bold twist, and we are topping off our pie with homemade marshmallow fluff. It is insanely good. It is really easy to make, and the recipe and the video can be found on biggerbolderbaking.com. Marshmallow fluff is the best part of the marshmallow because it's the fluffy center, and it is just going to work fantastically on this pie. You have all of the lovely textures. Okay, now we're not finished yet because we still have to toast the marshmallow to really get that full s'more experience. Now what I'm going to do is turn on my grill and very gently on a low heat, just toast the top and make it lovely and golden brown. To be a true s'more pie, of course you have to toast the marshmallow on top and get that nice charred flavor. Let it rest for 10 minutes and then cut yourself a big slice. This pie has my name written all over it. It's got graham cracker crust, chocolate in the middle, and then toasted marshmallow on top. I mean, it does not get much better than this. You're definitely going to want to put this on your summer baking list, or no bake list. Follow me on Snapchat for lots of behind the scenes footage. My username is Gemma Stafford, and I'll see you back here next Thursday for more bigger, bolder baking.